T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi, my name is Doug. I'm the president of Guardians of the Purple Heart, and we are a 501c3 approved nonprofit organization based here in southeastern Connecticut that specializes in obtaining items or services for Connecticut combat wounded veterans that aren't being met by other organizations like the VA. So what we like to think is where the VA or these other establishments have to leave off because of their corporate red tape and limitations, we can come in behind them and fulfill these needs by reaching out to the community, working with our vast network of supporters, and just coming together as a whole and supporting these Purple Heart recipients and improving their overall quality of life. A lot of people ask us how do they get involved and how do they join in on the fun with us. A lot of things you could do. Follow us on Facebook, #1, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website at gotph.org. You can send donations, send us a message. Spread the word of what we're doing. All the Connecticut Purple Heart recipients, we are out there trying to make a difference in their lives. So please give us a hand and join in on the fun.
Bring your appetite down to Big Belly Cafe, 140 Gore Street, Webster, Mass. for curbside, takeout, and indoor seating. Visit BigBellyCafe.com to view their hours, menu, and order online. For reservations, please call ahead at 508-949-2433. Follow Big Belly Cafe on Facebook for weekly and daily specials. And remember, all veterans receive a discount for their recognition of service. Big Belly Cafe. Reedy's Archery, located in Middleborough, Mass. at 121 Wood Street, has been a staple in the area since 1993 and has become the one-stop pro shop for competitive target archers and bow hunters from New England. Reedy's is open Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to visit Reedy'sArchery.com and follow them on Facebook to keep up with upcoming events. Reedy's Archery, dedicated to the archer. Wolf Aviation Network is the only flight school in the area utilizing the Airwolf Simulator AATD and the specialized Part 61 training program designed to save students money while increasing safety and efficiency. Creating safe pilots is our first priority. Our flight sim is the perfect training device. It is designed to prepare students adequately before taking flight in our aircraft. Fly with us and save money. Wolf Aviation. Reserve your spot at 413-563-1929 and visit wolfaviationnetwork.com.
This is what we train for, every day.
We just received new intel that there's an enemy presence at the airstrip compound.
All those years. When you're the first to arrive, it's not enough to be ready. You have to be relentless. It's our job to control the ground and the sky, wherever they may meet, even behind enemy lines. They call us one-man air traffic control towers, but we're more than that.
Ivy Lima Charlie, break. Airfield is stable. You are clear to land.
We turn hell into an airstrip. And clear the way for others to follow.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Fubar Studios. I'm your host, Doug, and today we have a special guest with us today. It's a prior service U.S. Army veteran, which I actually went to AIT with at Fort Lawson Woods, as a lot of people know it as, but it's Leonard Wood. So I'm going to have him take it over and give us an introduction to himself, and we'll get into the questions.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Perin Molitor. I was medically retired U.S. Army Sergeant with the Army Reserve. I was a motor transportation operator for a little bit. Then I was human resources. I was your S1 guy, the guy who you come to for your paperwork all the time. I was a low-level bureaucrat in KCOM. So a little bit about me and all. Civilian-wise, I worked mostly security and protective services. I'm a current police officer right now. And I enlisted in September 2007, and that was a long time ago now. I met Doug here in 2008 and all at Fort Leonard Wood, and that was a interesting experience. I still have fond memories and horrible memories of that place as well. So joined the military at that back then, and looking at the military now is two completely very different things. I mean, the mindset of people that joined and the people now, it's very different. What's kind of funny is when we joined, we all felt like we were the young kids of the generation, and now we're the old ones. Yep. It's funny how that has changed. I still remember being a 21-year-old kid just joining in and all the crazy shenanigans and all. But it's like time flew by so fast. Absolutely. I mean, it's like one moment we're in, and the next moment we're getting old.
Absolutely. Totally get it too. It was a lot of good times, a lot of sad times. I can remember certain times that we used to be in the barracks, and we were making snowmen out of the snow, and then putting it onto the windowsill and stuff like that, and doing PT inside the barracks. And then it just goes on the cattle carts. Riding in one of those things. I know you and I both also went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, but you were, I believe, at a different company, because I know I was at Foxtrot 313 at Fort Jackson. I believe you were at what was it, 60 or no? What was the unit you were with at?
Company 313th, the Mad Dogs.
That's what it was.
Funny how I even remember that, even after all these years and all.
Oh, it's so funny, and I was just talking about it the other day, and I pulled it out. This was me at basic training, at Fort Jackson, Family Day. So it was like, again, it was brings back a lot of memories, a lot of good times, a lot of bad times. Definitely, I would say more of probably good times than I would say bad times. Definitely enjoyed it still. So since you've been in, so when you've been in, so you were in from 2007 until 2022. That whole time period, you were pretty much was it National Guard reservist? Reservist. I know you came up here, up to Boston one time during a train, or not a training, but I believe it was some classes or something for the military.
Yeah, human resource training.
Yes.
It was 1 month long. MOST reply.
That was over at Devon's or
Devon's.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember everything. Um, so that was then, and then so you got out and medically retired in 22. So that's some good. That's a long time. So mine was just 9 years. So yours was
15 years total.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. Did you ever imagine yourself staying in that long?
Actually, I was trying to tough it out, but they gave me an option of saying, "Hey, we could go forward with your medical paperwork, or we can give you your rocker." Finally, I was supposed to get promoted, get my sixth, but lovely COVID happened, and then we got everybody who was on the list to go to ALC got bumped off the list. So then I had to reapply.
Yeah.
And because my MOS was very hard to promote, they said I had to go wait an additional 2 years. So they were kind of worried when I said I was going to go the route of getting out, and I was like, nah, it's not worth it and all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know of a few guys that they since COVID they actually had to they switched MOSs to, and then also they switched they went from one state to another state, which Massachusetts and New York are not, if you live on the border, it's not too far, but they ended up going to another state, and they ended up getting their E6, and now they just got their E7. I think it was just last year. So it's definitely when you're on a list and it's like your MOSs, and stuff like that take a part of your promotion. It's like it's how do you wager it really? With since when you were getting out in 22, now did they have any classes or anything to help you with transitioning out of saying, hey, this is what's going on, you're being you're med boarding out, here's the list of the VAs, whatnot, or anything like that to help you along with getting all your paperwork and everything filed?
Honestly, they didn't really give me much of anything, which was pretty bad. And if I wasn't admin myself, I probably would have been a lot more lost, because my paperwork. So they were originally going to get me out a little bit sooner, but they never filed my paperwork. So what helped me out was I was good with my brigade command and all. So I just CC'd my brigade sergeant major, because my sergeant major was like Sergeant Molitor, they're playing games. You CC me in every little thing and all. So what's funny is once I did that, they got me out in like 3 months, less than 3 months. They got me out, which is kind of funny because a whole year they were like playing these little games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny if you want something done in the military, the CCing email is very powerful. It is the most powerful thing you could ever do. But I didn't get really much of a class or anything. To answer your question, well, they gave me a PDF file of PowerPoint slides to go read. That was the most extent I got.
So the PowerPoint by death.
Well, here's the worst thing. They didn't even give me the class. They just told me to download it and read it.
Yeah, which I mean, it's very sad that that they do that, and I've heard it from You're not the first one. I mean, it's been quite a bit that I've heard this from, and this is where I've been trying to advocate for this, just here in Massachusetts, with trying to help the bases around here to be more doing their due diligence and helping the servicemen and women that are getting out, having their ETS date here come up soon, giving them more trying to give them classes instead of just saying, here's your packet, see you later, have a good one, because that doesn't help anybody, and it's sure enough, not good enough really for them to be doing that all together when they spent so much money just on us as individuals when they brought us into the military, as well as provided for us over these years. So you would think they would want to give us at least some more help by trying to help us transition out of the service. Has it been like any of the DAVs and stuff like that, VFWs or American Legions? Have they been very helpful with providing any help with anything trying to get you connected with through the disability? Because I know as we were speaking before, you were talking about certain things with the ratings and everything like that. Were they very were any of those how would you say it, groups, have they really provided you with any assistance with trying to point you in the right direction or anything like that, or even help you?
Honestly, I had to go through these third-party companies that basically just helped me with my paperwork and helped me through the process and all. Because American Legion, DAV, they do some good things, but I get there's so few people and they're back ordered. They rush through your stuff and they are very little help. Honestly,
Yeah.
was on the phone with them and all, and the problem is if you miss a phone call from them, they don't care about you one bit. And this thing about when they go say, "Veteran, we're here for the veterans," no, they're not. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to go to some of these organizations that you may have to spend a little bit money, and unfortunately, that's the thing. You want to get things done. You got to spend a little bit of money to get things done. These organizations that are for the veterans, they're not helpful. They're nonprofit organizations. They take all this money, but they don't do much, if anything, for the veterans.
Yeah, no, and that's very, again, like it's very sad, and that's where, again, like I've started, as you and I were talking, like I was telling you, is that I started the nonprofit up here in Massachusetts, and our whole thing is to bridge the gap between the military and the veteran organizations and the veterans, because again, this falls at death doors, and it's you hear it too often. Like I'm gonna keep saying this. It happens too often, and our veterans are the ones that pay for it. We as veterans, we took the oath to defend this country, from foreign and domestic terrorists, and it's like, we're now getting out and whatnot, and we're not getting the help that we need, and it's a sad situation, and that's why I wanted to talk to you more and get you on here onto the podcast, because I want to get everybody's opinion and point of view on this, because again, it's very sad, and I'm gonna get you in contact also with somebody that I know very well that she's been doing it for 35 years, and she doesn't charge anything at all. She's accredited individual through the VA, but also through the Department of Defense and all that, to help you out with this, because again, it's a sad situation that us as veterans, we got to deal with this. And as you were touching on, as you being a human resource specialist 42 Alpha in the service as well, it's this is like the NCOs that I've always heard is like they always stomp in their foot and they're like, listen up, this is when you got to listen. Is that every veteran, every serviceman and women in the service, it doesn't matter what branch you are in, you need to keep records of your own stuff. Because again, everybody relies onto the military. Well, you can't. You really can't rely on the military, because you never know when things are going to get misplaced, or things are not going to get filed correctly, or, things are just just vanish one day. You don't know that. So that's why I stress on all of the soldiers below me, as well as any new recruits that were coming in. It was it's going to behoove you to definitely keep records of everything, any LODs, any times that you go to AT. Keep track of any time that stuff happens and you get injured, and you have to go off base and get to the emergency room off base. Keep track of that stuff, because again, when it comes down to it, you need to be able to prove it. And for some reason, if the military does not, put it into your file, you're out of luck. It's that whole story of the whole thing of, your SOL, you're shit out of luck. Unless you take care of it yourself. Do you have...
Think of it this way. Those LODs and everything that you have, that is stuff that is going to go get you your disability ratings in the future. So my thing is we've had people who deployed places and there was no records of them ever deploying. I mean, we got pictures of them over there, timestamp, but we got no orders, no nothing. So on their paperwork, they've never deployed. And so we've had people, I've had to tell a full-bird colonel and say, sir, you cannot wear that medal. And he said, I was over in Iraq at this time. I said, sir, no, according to paperwork, you are not. So unfortunately, until it gets filed in I-PERMs and it is in there, you cannot, you have to take it off. And he had to go take it off. And the thing is military has this thing where they said, pain is weakness, leaving body, tough it out and all. Well, the thing is I tell every service member, even if it hurts, get it documented, because it can come in later. And later on, that's going to affect your disability rating, because when you get out, there ain't going to be no help for you. It's going to be on you. Yeah. And the thing is, you want your disability rating and all that. I firmly believe every single veteran who has ever served, you need to go get what you deserve. You served honorably, you need to get it. Whatever benefits you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree, because again, I tell veterans that you got to think of it this way, is that you served the country, you served it with honors, and you did your part. Now it is the part of the government to give you those benefits that you deserve. And that is where the VA comes in. If the government gives the VA $800 billion for the VA claims and for their ratings, if the VA is only using $700 million, the government's going to turn around and say, oh, well, we'll just take that $100 million away and we're not going to give it to you next year. So with veterans not applying for benefits, they're going to start taking, funds away from it and only giving so much just so it can meet what it has, not for what it's going to have later on. And that's where, veterans need to look at it as, you're not asking for anything that is not owed to you. This is owed to you. Don't feel ashamed. There's no reason to feel ashamed, because you did nothing wrong to feel ashamed. You know, it's needs to be provided to you. You know,
I like to, every single one of us that has served for X amount of time, the military affected us in some form or fashion. Even in mental state, even in mentally, it affected us in a way that we are very different than our civilian counterparts. We make jokes that civilians do not understand. We laugh at things. We look at things completely differently. And when we get out, I hate to say it, but we're all crazy and fucked up in a way when we get out. So we got something.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's more than likely it's, you know, you've done something that you've never done before. If you've deployed and you've had to pull the trigger on somebody, you've never done that before, and it's not something that you're ever going to be able to forget about. You're going to live with that for the rest of your life. You know, or if you've seen your buddy, you know, get blown up, or, you know, say for instance, you know, your battle buddy next to you in the next room over, unfortunately, you know, loses a battle with, you know, his PTSD or whatnot, and he takes his life, and you see that next morning, you know, that's a big change to all of us. That hits us hard. You know, it's something that's always going to live with you, and absolutely, it doesn't matter, you know, what it is. It's, you know, we are somewhat fucked up. And again, that's again why I even have it as the podcast as Fubar, because we're fucked up beyond all recognition. But then the part of it where I have it as veteran reinforcement, it's we're here to reinforce all the veterans. We're here to help and provide this stuff and be able to bridge the gap with these local organizations as well as the government with the bases to be able to provide more stuff for our veterans, because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of disconnect with the veterans that when as they're getting out, they're not getting the stuff that they need. They're not getting the stuff that they need even out after they get out and they're applying for benefits. You know, it's sad. You know, and you know, it's great that, you know, as now you're not serving, you're serving your community. You know, well, you were as a reservist, but you're also serving your community. You were serving your community as, you know, through security, as well as now you're serving it as a law enforcement. So you're putting your life back on the line to being, you know, in the law enforcement field, and be able to do this and be out there and putting your life out. I can't tell you thank you enough, because you're definitely doing, you know, you're doing this, you know, for the love of the country and for your community. You know, it's definitely an honor, and everything, and I can't tell you enough thank you. You know, how was that whole training when you went into the police academy and getting your criminal justice degree and stuff like that? How was that?
Honestly, the academy wasn't as bad, really. I went to the part-time academy, so every state is really different. But in terms of here at the one I went to, I would say I actually had some of the best teachers I ever had in my life in that school, in this academy, and they taught us academically. They taught us proficiency, realistic applications, and all. And they were just overall great instructors. And the thing is it wasn't really as militaristic, but I'd say when I went through, it was far more academic. So we had to know what we were doing. So you couldn't just memorize stuff. It was more practical application of things and all. It's very different than, say, for how the military is where they tell you that, you know, how to think. This is, in law enforcement, it's more about you have to understand why something is happening. So it's it's day and night situation completely.
No, absolutely. And now, do they with all the training, do they give you the training? How much training do they give you with even trying to de-escalate situations and stuff like that? How is
We get continuous education training and all that stuff. That's mandated by the state. State says North Carolina says we need to do 24 hours minimum of in-service training, and it could be through a variety of different things.
yeah
De-escalation training, it kind of varies. So it's like kind of like building a building. So
yeah
you learn like the basics, and then later on you start applying it to various different scenarios. So communication is one of the big things, and like saying like I could say, "Sir, get on the ground. Sir, get on the ground now," or "Sir, get on the fucking ground now," and I'm gonna lay on your hands. So it's
yeah
something like that. So there's multiple ways we can go about it. It's like the polite way or the hard way, or either
yeah
or. We're still gonna accomplish what we need to do.
Correct. Yeah, that's which it's very common to know. It's like you guys got to do your job of exactly what you're there for, and unfortunately, you only know what is being relayed to you through the dispatch. So really, you've got to sort out everything once you get onto the scene to actually be able to figure stuff out and be able to then have to be, unfortunately, the one that has to make the final judgment on what's going on and try to really hopefully get the side which is being truthful out of it, because again, as everybody knows, there's one side, the other side, and then the truth, and that's where it all lays. And unfortunately, you guys are not the judge or anything like that, so you just got to be able to take both sides, figure it out on what you guys think of what's going on, and be able to just de-escalate it, or unfortunately, take someone off the jail. That's just the way it is. Or sometimes it's not even that. I don't know, but I know some of the cops up here. I've seen them even get onto their knees and stuff like that and try to change tires and stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it probably up here in some of the smaller towns. I think I've even seen a Stady once, maybe even twice, not 100%. But it's great to see them interacting that way. But how long have you been doing now the law enforcement?
So in North Carolina, we got a variety of different types of law enforcement. So I actually work for a private police department and all. So we're a little bit different. We're actually a police for hire. So we're literally the definition of rent a cop. So I mean, you hire us, we do what we need, you want. So pretty much. So it's a little bit different because for us, we're not really for the people, we're for the people who hire us.
Yeah.
Now we still are certified law enforcement officers. We do what we do. Like a few weeks ago, I was dealing with a domestic situation.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we still deal with similar situations as law enforcement officers to the properties that contract us.
Yeah.
Right now, one of our major clients is the city of Raleigh. We encounter all sorts of things. One of the biggest things we do encounter, however, is mental illness. And I can tell you this much: mental illness is very, very real.
Yeah.
If I had my choice of dealing with gang members or mentally ill people, I'd rather deal with gang members any day, because you can reason with a gang member. You can de-escalate with a gang member. I can talk them or talk them down or whatever. Or somebody who's mentally ill, I can't do that. You have very limited options because they're out of their mind and they're unpredictable. And that is the most dangerous thing when you're dealing with it. And unfortunately, a good chunk of the ones around here who are homeless and mentally ill, they mostly carry blades. Unfortunately, I'd say every other one has a blade. So you have to work. So knowing what you're encountering and dealing with, it's really hard, because if you don't know what exactly they have or general idea what they have, like if they're bipolar, autistic, schizophrenic, or just plain ass completely out of their mind, then you are in trouble. There isn't that de-escalation, and some of them are also resistant to pepper spray and taser.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No, I've seen some of the videos that come out of some of the states on it, and it's like it's very crazy on how they got to handle these situations. Because every call is never going to be the same. And unfortunately, it's never going to end the same every time, or it's not going to play out the same way each call plays out. It all plays out all differently. And again, as like you even said, it's like different when you're dealing with schizophrenic to bipolar to split personality, to even someone that has PTSD or MST, and they have their own problems within that. There's always those different trigger words or trigger things that are gonna make them change. Stuff like that. So definitely that's definitely scary, and I hope with everything, hope everything goes well with you on that. Keep me posted with all that stuff, and if you have one thing to say to anybody or to say to people, what would that one be? That one thing you would say to people in a nice way, not in a negative way or anything, but for people in the military or even people in civilian life, what would that be?
I would honestly tell everybody, hey, look, life goes by very fast. Don't take things for granted. Don't be too serious, but don't think of it as a joke either, because unfortunately, what we do when we were younger can affect us when we're older.
Yeah.
Life's decisions is very, very important, and unfortunately, like mistakes I made in the past,
yeah,
I'm living and feeling it. Like stuff I did in my early 20s, it might seem the most minute, and it was like a good idea at the time. I'm 38 right now. I mean, I'm feeling the ramifications of things that basically I did in the past. I mean, they are not illegal or anything. They were just probably poor decisions, and some of them were put it lightly. But that's one of the biggest things is these days is like always try to maintain a positive outlook. Look at the most positive things in life, because if you can't just focus on the negative. When life is down, you gotta look at some of the bright sides.
Absolutely, and that couldn't be said any differently. That's absolutely amazing, and again, I wish you well with everything. Wish you staying safe and everything, and enjoying the rest of your life with doing that. And you're 38, I'm 39. Still living life, but I got things that I don't look back. I look at back from when I was younger and wish I didn't do those things. But unfortunately, I did them, and I'm paying for them now. But the one thing I can say is definitely joining the service. Meeting people like you and people like Smalls or
I got stories on that one.
Or Brandon Likely, and how many bags
keep in touch with him.
What's that?
Still keep in touch with him.
Yeah, I really never got a count on how many green duffel bag full of TA-50 that he didn't take.
He still has a whole bunch of that stuff.
I
mean, that decision paid off because, I mean, he'll be prepped in case of a nuclear apocalypse or some kind of zombie apocalypse because he's got a whole bunch of junk from AIT.
I know. They're probably all some of that stuff. I can't tell you how much stuff that old stuff down there was that they had left over. It was crazy. But, geez, I tell you this. I had the photo of our AIT, the whole platoon of 58 trans. memories of me tripping and falling face first to the ground with as the guide arm during lunch formation. I don't know if you remember that.
I still remember the stupid ditty we did, hopping up like a bunny rabbit, saying "Chow time's coming, chow time's coming." How stupid it was, and all that stuff. And that one girl, what's her name? Vallejo.
Yes, Vallejo.
I mean, to be honest, to be fair, she really was a stripper as a regular job, but still, I mean, it was funny.
Oh man, I'll tell you, there's so many people. I don't know.
If you ever hear this, I'm sorry, but you know.
Do you remember Jones? He was one of the ones that had the CDL license when he got in. I still keep in contact with him. There's quite a few people. What the hell was his name? Wagenbach from California. He was one of the ones he was one of the ones that went out with us. Because was that an overnight pass that we had when we went and we got down to the Just Drink and Steel Reserve? Or was that just a day pass?
Well, I do remember some stuff, and some stuff was very foggy and all that stuff. I do remember also there was a barracks where the 88s and the MPs used to hook up to that. There was abandoned barracks too.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that there, but that was like the hookup spot for. You put a whole bunch of young 19 to 20 something year olds and like together, and I mean,
come on,
the army.
You know what's bound to happen at some point.
Yeah.
I remember even when we came back from Christmas break when we got there, and we all had to go and do a urinalysis test. That was nuts. If you couldn't pee, you had to stay down there in that room until you had to, and sometimes you were doing front back goes, push-ups, sit-ups.
I still remember the bolts on our weapons freezing because it was so cold.
Oh, it was.
And I still remember how stupid, because it was so cold, we had to do modified convoy live fire sitting in our bunk beds, acting like we were driving around and all that stuff.
What about the night vision, the goggles that we had to do?
Yeah, I remember that. That was asinine.
Some of those things.
And I remember our drill sergeant making us race the Marines because he was Marine and all. That was always fun.
Oh, that was what the hell was his name? Patterson, yes, Drill Sergeant Patterson.
You know, it's funny. I still remember these freaking names and all. That's one thing people will always remember is their drill sergeants and all.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't remember my reclass instructors. I guess they weren't that important and memorable.
Now, some of those ones you probably will never remember, and it's like, but you will remember your basic and usually your AIT drill sergeants.
You remember our sergeant first class guy? He actually was an actual gang, which was kind of funny.
Was he
Friesen? Friesen or Fizen? He was actually a gang member and all, because we all overheard the other drill sergeants talking about him, and then how he's actually a real gang member.
Jesus! I only remember Chapman, which was my basic. Smith, Drill Sergeant Smith, basic. Peterson. I can't remember all the ones that were at the AIT. There was, I think, 3 of them. Three drill sergeants there we had.
I just remember the one with the messed up teeth.
Yeah.
And that who told us about USAA and I forget the other guy and all. I forget. I remember there was a guest drill sergeant, or he was he was in another company, but then he got arrested and all. Kind of interesting.
Wasn't there at over there wasn't there a a soldier got arrested too, also because he knocked the drill sergeant's hat off over at the not the PX, but the shop bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I remember that because it was over at the shop bet, and then all you saw was the MP cars coming around and everything, and it was like all the drill sergeants were all on that one kid. Jeez, it's memories like that I remember, and you know, geez, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, that's memories that most people will have, or everybody who's ever been in, and that's why I tell people, when you serve and all, you'll always maintain these memories. But the thing is it's just like people who go to college. How much do you remember from that class or that class, other than maybe around a few friends? You don't remember jack about most of it. But in the military, you remember just about every little bit as if it was yesterday. You talk to any even old veteran. He's probably 80 years old. He can remember basic training, AIT, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a journey.
It definitely was. It was. I remember doing our final PT tests up in the gym upstairs on that indoor track because it was I believe it was snowing or icy out, so we had to do the PT test indoors. I remember Fort Jackson. We used to do sand cookies and all that stuff, and asking us if we like.
That indoor track was actually what tore my leg and where I had permanent damage, ironically enough. And that, thanks to that, I got an LOD there, and thanks to that was one of the big things that contributed to my VA rating. So the littlest do count.
Absolutely, it definitely does, and it's that's where I tell soldiers, it would behoove you to listen up, and this is where it's keep all your documentations, because again, it's got to become down to you as the individual to keep those records. It's not anybody else's duty. Unfortunately, the military should be doing that and keeping it, but they obviously don't do it because they don't keep a lot of it. And again, iPerms need to match what you have, and if you have copies of those things, that's where you're going to get it. You're going to finally be able to.
So I was S1. So if you go, so this is why I told everybody: if you didn't have it, and when we do records review and we ask, is everything good?
Yep.
Then everything's good. If you're missing something, you're missing something. And 10 years from now, if you ask, say, hey, what do I do if this happens? I have a soldier right now, or somebody who I served with. He messaged me about a month ago saying, hey, how do I get this record? I said, do you have any copies of it? I said, I don't know how you could get it because the system changes and all, and there's a good chance if you don't have your documents or anything supporting, it never happened. He's like, well, but I did this. I said, well, according to the military, you didn't. I believe you, but you should have kept better on the records. And I told him, I said, you as attorney, who is now attorney, who's about to pass the bar, should know better.
Yep, absolutely. So, again, I do appreciate the time and the getting you on here. Definitely, it's been a thrill. I know the viewers are going to be definitely picking some stuff up out of this. And like I said, I'm going to send you that lady's name. It's as well as her email address. You can, if you want, you can just send her a message and talk to her and see what she can point you in, or if she's able to help you out with it, because again, she knows the ins and outs, and she's doing this for over almost 40 years, and she's big in it. And so, like I said, also she's going to be on a few different episodes I'm going to be doing. I've broken them out where it talks about getting into the VA, then it talks about your comp and pen through the VA, talks about, survival benefits, if you and a spouse are together and, both served, whatnot. It's going to be some of that's going to be in there, as well as a bunch of other stuff that's going to be odds and ends. And definitely tune in on those times, and it will definitely be very informational to everybody. And like I always say, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, is because I want to bridge the gap and bridge it between all these organizations, as well as through the veterans and stuff, to be able to help them out in any way that we can. So until next time, everybody, again, I do appreciate it again, Molitor, with everything. Can't tell you thank you enough for your service, as well as your continuous service with the law enforcement and everything. We always got your six, as always. And I'm going to have Beavis and Butthead tell us what they think about this episode, and send it off with some music too. Until next time, you guys.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah, shut up!
You suck!
Stop, in the name of all that which does not suck.
Thanks for watching Fubar Studios Veteran Reinforcement. Please make sure to check out the Fubar Studios on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and visit the website at fubarstudio.com. Fubar Studios is a Sinista1 Production.